Hello, this is Spellbinder with a story about the Canadian freshwater supply being robbed by them by certain shadow individuals both in the US and Canada, which were trying to run pipelines down from the pristine waters of Canada down into the US to give it to just about anyone along the way. Like, here's a picture of the map. This is a good one here. They're bringing it down from British Columbia. It's going to pipe it down and get it down into California and down into Mexico. There's a reason why they want to have NAFTA. They want to make all this as you see it, one country. That's why they're trying to get the illegals to be legalized. They're trying to basically make this into one continent. And I guess the Rockefellers want this as their one continent, and I guess the Rothschilds were on Europe and all that, and Africa, and that would be another whole continent owned by them. And there would be no borders between Canada and Mexico. And they'll end up piping these pristine waters down from Canada, tapping into all their fresh water and draining it down here to bring water in these areas. And this has been the plan since 1950s. They were starting in the 60s. They started talking into how they'd planned this, and then I guess Clinton tried to push it with the NAFTA plan, and it never got through, and it failed. And so what we got here is political conversion from Premier Campbell to water export to zealot. And death strikes down senior staffer office of Canadian opposition leader Michael Ingray. The prophecy is unfolding. Death number 14. In other words, they've been killing people along the way to quiet them, because this is trying to go through secretly, which I don't know how they can make it go secretly. And they start building the pipeline and making the streams. This is a video soundtrack that's on this website, and I'm going to let you hear this as I stream down and show you this entire web page. You'll be able to read this as you're listening. Just make your screen full size and you'll be able to read it all. I'm going to go ahead and start this audio about what's going on in Canada and how they're storing the water. That's not my microphone.
Welcome to the Water War Crimes website. This website contains some explosive information. For example, we think that this website contributed to the death of Jack Ebbels, who was an insider in the crimes we have described as the Water War Crimes. You see, we posted information about Jack Ebbels' involvement in the Water War Crimes on this website in January 2010. Over the next few weeks, we noticed some people were coming to our website after having Googled Jack Ebbels' name, and on February 25th, 2010, Jack Ebbels was dead from a sudden heart attack. Now, a lot of people might say, well, that is just a coincidence, and I agree. One death like that is a coincidence, but you see, what we have here is 13 deaths like that, and 13 deaths is not a coincidence. We publish the information about the crimes a person committed, and a little while later that person dies. In January and February of this year, we also started targeting John Sims, the Deputy Attorney General for Canada, because he had committed a fraud in the federal court proceeding that we initiated, and that was being deliberately stalled by officers of the court. We think John Sims got spooked by the death of Jack Ebbels, because a couple of weeks after Jack Ebbels died, John Sims suddenly decided to quit his job effective April 1st, 2010. Then another insider, Glenn Shortliff, died on May 6, 2010. The newspaper said the cause was a sudden unexpected heart attack. Glenn Shortliff was death number 13. It is only July now, and as far as we can determine, no one else has died. But I expect to see more obituaries of insiders connected to the Water War Crimes. And as I told Madam Justice Gauthier of the Federal Court on April 20th, 2010, Our lawsuit should be settled and settled quickly, or someone else would die, and sure enough, on May 6th, Glenn Shortlift dropped dead. This reminded me of my prediction made April 20th, 2008, about 2 years ago, when I wrote to a colleague by email and I said that what we were working on was going to destroy the chief judge of the provincial court. I wrote that it might kill him, and he was dead on May 7th, 2008. Another amazing coincidence. You can read all about that on our website. Just scroll down to the Chief Judge Stansfield link and read the story. I was a little bit surprised that it happened so quickly. It didn't surprise me that he died because he was reputed to be a major pedophile, doing kids as young as 6 for sexual pleasure, and I knew that as soon as the information broke, he might consider suicide. So, the way I figure, someone broke the information to him and he drank the hemlock, like Socrates, or so they say. I don't want to deal too much with the dead. There are at least 13, and we have a full page that deals with the issue, and it is called The Graveyard of the Guilty. You can scroll down to that link and read the whole story. And then you can wonder, like we have been, who is murdering these guys? Sure, a few of them were old and on their way out, but others were healthy and showed no signs of illness when they dropped dead. They knew some secrets, and someone had motive to murder them, and now they are dead, and well, I guess they aren't going to talk, are they? But that's only part of the story. What we have bumped into is something very big. So big, in fact, that none of the mainstream media will report it accurately. The information on our website is what you call suppressed news, especially in Canada. The CBC will not tell you these things, the Globe and Mail will not, and neither will any mainstream media organizations. Sure, there are lots of publications about water exports and NAFTA, and even about the claim of Sunbelt water. But none of those publications, not a single one, or at least in the mainstream media, not a single one talks about the political corruption that took place at the highest levels in Canada, and in particular in British Columbia. Why is this? Why is the Canadian media so afraid to tell this story? Why did the RCMP tell me they would not investigate the offshore accounts we located for them? We had the financial institutions, the transactions dates, the names of the companies that held the accounts for others. All they had to do was look behind the front names and the criminals would be revealed. Sergeant Bud Bishop of the RCMP, supposedly a commercial crimes investigator, said to me, in the presence of Colin Beach and Bob Tanner in Vancouver, "Mr. Carton, you want us to go looking under rocks?" To which I replied, "Of course I do, Sergeant Bishop. That is where you will find the scum, under the rocks." And Bishop, he replied, "Well, the RCMP aren't going to do that." So who are these high and mighty people that the RCMP would not place a simple telephone call to Interpol and ask that they trace the owners of certain offshore accounts in Switzerland, London, and the Cayman Islands? Who could these people be? If these people were politicians who were involved in making decisions about water exports, then they were prima facie guilty of a criminal offense. The Roman playwright Seneca observed some 1700 years ago, "He who profits most from a crime is the one most likely to have committed it." And let me assure you, there were crimes committed. It was clear to me that the RCMP were protecting someone, but who? Let's be very clear. Water exports are on the agenda between Canada and the United States. You don't hear it spoken about much in the media these days, but they have been on the agenda for over 4 decades. There has been a lot of nonsense spewed out of the mouths of Canadian politicians that they wanted to protect Canada's water. This was a massive lie. So if you are a Canadian, you should start learning what is going on by reading this website, and then watch your politicians start to wiggle and squirm when you start asking them about it and the contents of this website in public. I figure some of this information goes back to the time when Richard Nixon was president and Pierre Trudeau was Prime Minister of Canada. We've got a web page dedicated to Pierre Trudeau. California is running out of water. The Americans have known this since the 50s, and so have the Canadian insiders. The only problem for Canada's insiders, political cheats that they are, is how to cheat you and not get caught. How do they line their own pockets from a resource that is owned by all Canadians? These pages will give you a glimpse of the players in the water war crimes and their respective roles. In these pages we also tell you what happened to us. We were attacked by the state because what we were doing was helping to expose criminals inside the state. We aren't looking for sympathy. We just want to let you know what happened so you can protect yourselves. When people working for you as civil servants turn on you and attack you like they did us. We also want to expose them, expose the judges and the lawyers who lied and cheated, so that they won't do these kinds of things again to other innocent people. Miss Gibbs and I did not like our careers being terminated by these creeps, but they don't deserve to be allowed to slip away without paying a price. They're dangerous. People have to stand up to them. So if you have information that corroborates their crookedness, by all means, send it to us, and with your permission, we will publish it. Finally, let me tell you that in my opinion, the Government of Canada and British Columbia has made a deal with the Americans about water exports, and they have done it secretly without telling you. I could be wrong on this, and I could be right, but based on what has been going on since Stephen Harper got into office, it sure looks like there has been an ongoing negotiation for about 3 years. If you recall, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the governor of California, paid a visit to Ottawa in 2007. And that's when the negotiations began, and then they speeded up after President Obama was elected. Things appeared to have gotten really heated in December, so Stephen Harper suspended Parliament. And then key agreements appear to have been signed during the Olympic Games, when the governors of Washington, Oregon, California, and Montana signed various agreements with the government of British Columbia. Recent developments, such as the Site C Dam and the Peace River, are linked to the plan to export water to the United States, and the recent Flathead Lake Valley Conservancy proposals are also related. The Flathead Lake will be a major conduit through which the water will flow out of Canada and into the United States. Recently, the Canadian Western Premiers indicated at their conference that the program was moving forward when they made a declaration that Western Canada will be a steward for water for all of North America. This moves the Western Premiers from a focus on the Western Territories to the whole of North America. My prediction is that what you will see over the next 20 years will be a massive transformation of Western North America by one of the largest public works projects ever undertaken in the history of mankind. We discuss this on our website also. This project will deliver rivers of water from northern British Columbia and Alaska to the American Southwest and Mexico. The project will transform Western North America in much the same way the St. Lawrence River project transformed Canada, Eastern Canada, and the northeastern and midwestern United States from New York through to Michigan. These are important issues, and we encourage you to read. Thank you for taking the time to listen.
And there it was. They're trying to steal the water and bring it down to Americas, down to Mexico illegally. The gangsters at it again. And that was supposed to be the proof of it there. That's just a preview of it. Go to this website. You'll be able to learn everything about what's going on. Well, until next time, this is Spellbinder with this interesting news report from Canada. This is what NAFTA was all about. Stealing the pristine water and draining it out from up there. And a bunch of people up in Canada would be making, well, not really a bunch, say a few hundred out of the thousands and millions of people up there will be making buku bucks, and then the normal cronies down here in the States will be making their buku bucks from the government and everything. So Until next time, Spellbinder, be good at it.